Yo, welcome to Becoming Unfiltered, guys. It's your boy Watch here with the lovely
Bola.
That's
Hi,
right.
guys.
Bola, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. So,
Well, no, wait. I was worried about you earlier this week because you were going to stand me up. I was going to do this entire fascinating episode all by myself.
that was a possibility because I had things to do.
Did you?
And I had a standing hair appointment, to be completely honest. And that's like important.
Did you get it done? Your hair looks good.
No,
Damn.
it actually doesn't. I failed everyone, my mother included. But anyway.
Well, yeah. I'm glad Bola's here because we have some fascinating guests here. When I say fascinating, I mean like fascinating, right? Bola.
Stop.
He's really excited.
No, I am. So they're making fun of me, and that's fine because I'm excited. I'm gonna own my excitement, all right?
Yes.
So the topic today is gonna be on swinging.
Swinging.
So swinging as in like swinger couples.
Yes.
So we have a swinger couple here that Bola will introduce.
Yes, so we have our lovely, beautiful Joe and Mike.
Hi.
You guys want to say hello?
What up?
All right. It's all right, you know.
So they are two people who are members of the swinging community, which I don't have a definition for. So do one of you guys want to explain what that means or what that looks like?
So we would more call it like a lifestyle, but it is a community of people where you are ethically non-monogamous in the presence of your partner. And so they're I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain that.
So you have sex with other people.
We have sex with other people as long as we are together.
So that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. I actually wanted to write this down. I wanted to write this shit down, but I forgot. And then your response just triggered it. Like, what are the rules to being being in that like community? Like you just named
or
one.
lifestyle.
Like lifestyle community. Like what are the rules? Like what can get you fired or like get you
fired?
Black
get
ball.
you like
Or
initiated?
blue ball.
I mean, so if you're talking about like the community lifestyle as a whole, that's different then, and we can talk about some generalities. But if you're talking about like specific,
Like a swinger party.
a swinger party, right? So
Yeah.
like the rules are house rules, and they are posted everywhere, and everyone knows. There's not a lot of single males allowed, and they are very selective. And
When you say they, who is they?
those running the party.
Those running the party are selective of who can now be in the party?
Specifically single males they're very selective. You have to be like Adonis body, cool demeanor, have world experience because you're not thirsty because you understand your place and your role in this party.
So single men are essentially vetted in a certain way.
Oh,
Extremely.
absolutely.
Okay.
So a
you
single
can't
man
just-
is typically, the single man is typically like, he's an attractive, like well-traveled, like I can get any girl I want. I don't really need to be here, but I want to be here type of guy.
Like a lot of and there's a variety, but like most of them, yeah, like most swinger guys look like you.
Oh, all right.
No.
Wow! All right. Thank you. Wow.
Watch-
Was
I
this
needed to
about
not
informal
do that.
invite?
I needed to
Like
not do
informal
that.
Watch his ego. I saw it.
I'm
Like,
very sorry. That
It
was
just
not a paid ad.
Like,
That was as
what?
organic as it comes.
And I only say it in
This
that
will
way
never die.
to normalize what I'm talking about,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
Like,
mhm.
I don't want you to think of, like, some random dude that you would never encounter. Like,
Right.
I'm talking about somebody at your caliber,
Right,
you
right,
know?
right. Okay, that's cool.
I
That's
also want to ask, so like when you say parties, right? There are hosts of these parties, and these people are responsible for like creating a guest list. How would they then advertise this party? Like, how do these people come in? Like, how do you know
Yeah.
who another swinger is? Like,
I mean, just pretty much posted it like on a swinger site.
okay.
cool. Okay. So
You just see it on the swinger site and say that I'm going.
how do you find out a swinger site? Like, is it something that somebody referred? Like, so actually,
I mean,
this
it's like it's word of mouth.
it's word of mouth. Yeah.
Right.
So take me to when you guys first. Actually, before we go there, how long have you two been in a relationship?
Well, me and Joanna have been together for
It's okay.
for 2 years.
All right. Well,
2 years.
2 years. All right. And how long have you guys been swinging in your relationship?
The whole time.
The whole time. So
Well, let me be honestly. It's been a little bit less than 2 years, but I think like the first time we had a threesome was when the first time we said like we declared our love for each other before it happened. Before it happened.
So basically, you said, I love you too. Let's have a threesome.
Well, we planned the
What is it,
threesome,
like,
and then we said,
Okay. But
Got
love was
it wrong.
declared
Got it
before
wrong.
a threesome happened.
Right.
I feel like men would be saying I love you way more quickly than a threesome followed. I'll tell
and
you
we
that.
Yeah, that's
waited.
how you do it, though.
Yeah.
No,
that's
we
it.
waited a solid 5 months
Mhm.
before we introduced it.
It was, so before you came into this relationship, both of you, like, have you guys done this before, or is this like completely new?
Yeah, I've done it.
You've done it before.
I've done it before.
Oh, okay. So you guys weren't newbies.
Not
There was
at
no
all.
convincing, like, oh, I gotta convince you. You guys just kind of were equally yoked on the idea.
We
That's an interesting
definitely
way of
were.
putting it. Equally yoked
I
on
like
the
just
idea.
bring God into it.
Yeah, I did.
So only
Good
way to stay
time.
aboard the ship is to be equally yoked.
That's right. So so now I want to get into like how you guys each
Eat? Oh.
each
So you say eat.
each got introduced into this lifestyle, and how did you know it was for you? Because you can do something and be like, oh no, that's
And
not
this would be pre-relationship, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then when this was about approximately how many years or so?
So, when I was a wee young freshman in college,
Wow.
I was in this off again, on again relationship, and I've always been bisexual since I was 16. Lost my girl virginity in a car, and to a slightly older woman who was great
Wow.
and taught me things.
Right.
So,
Flashbacks.
but this is now, you have to think it's 2001. And the internet is not what it is. And so in between relationships, I was always known to like hang out with women and have a good time because I didn't want this press or stress or anything of dealing with a man. So it was hard to reach women. I wasn't old enough to go out to clubs. I wasn't 21 yet. So it's just like, how do I meet these women? And then I landed on Craigslist.
Wow.
And I saw swinger parties at hotels. And I'm just like, well, the girls are all fine. And I like dick too. And I'm single. And I don't want to get attached to anybody right now. So this is perfect. Let me get my rocks off and keep it moving. And it was a beautiful thing. So and for a long time, I've always been the youngest person in the room. And then even, it was always when we were single. It was always when I was single that I was more in the lifestyle as a unicorn. So most of my lifestyle experience is as a unicorn. And so our relationship is actually something new.
Wait, when you say unicorn, what do you mean?
A single bisexual female that's down.
Got you.
That's the label in the lifestyle.
Yes.
Okay, and so what? How many years ago was this?
So this is 15 years ago.
Okay, so it's a good chunk of time.
Yeah.
You need to write a book. That's
will.
autobiography.
She will.
Awesome.
This is gonna be the little black book, the side book.
Right, a little side book to the real book. You know, and side book may sell more.
I definitely will.
How about you, brother? How about you, Mike?
What was the question again?
He was so caught up in his girls. Like, damn.
It was a 3-part question.
Okay,
so,
yeah, you go ahead.
So it's like, tell us the story of how you were introduced into the lifestyle, how you knew it was for you, and how many years ago was that?
All right. Well, how I got into the lifestyle, I kind of started out more on like kinkish type shit.
What's that look like?
Yeah.
That's what I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
Started out with
Paint a picture.
like gangbangs. Just one girl. And
Okay.
the first one I went to, I really wasn't feeling it, so I kind of.
Well, I'm sorry. You said the first one you went to is if they advertised gangbangs. Like, was that
They did outside.
They do.
like it was on a site? Like,
It was on the
come
site. It was on
gangbang a
Yahoo.
girl.
Yeah. It
Oh,
was on Yahoo
this
groups.
is new.
America, I did not know they advertised gangbanging. I did not know that.
They
But
gangbang.
The more you know.
right.
And
Continue.
gangbang, get one and go.
Right. So that's kind of how you started doing that, and you
Yeah.
liked it.
I mean, like I said, first time I did it, I really didn't like the a girl.
Okay.
So I just kind of walked in, pretty much walked back out. But
Mm-hmm.
the second one I went to, I liked it, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I eventually started my own group. You know, and I had like 3,000 followers on.
What was the group called?
It was called, what was it called? Chicago
Gangbangers.
Chicago Gangbangs, I think.
Wow.
Wow.
Chicago, exactly.
Is that group
was
still
like
online?
10 years ago.
Is that like a Facebook group or something?
It was a Yahoo group.
A Yahoo. Wow. And you had 3,000 people in that group?
Yeah.
Well,
You ain't
were
shit.
there some girls too?
Yeah, it was a lot of couples. Like I used to help couples like if they wanted to gangbang because it's a lot of
Damn.
people they'll say they're coming but they won't come.
Okay.
This is
You
incredible.
know, so it's like
So you have to like kind of.
I had a lot of guys that would come,
Okay.
Mhm.
that would show up.
Literally.
They won't flake.
Was there like rules there too? Like what you could like?
Yeah.
Did you set all that up?
Yeah, it's the rules, boundaries. They had it.
Okay.
I charged a fee to come in,
Mm-hmm.
of course, because
What you collected?
yeah, we shot collect.
Mm-hmm.
Did
It wasn't much. You know, it was only like $40.
Okay.
So what about
So I
the?
have a freshman's.
Is this videotaped or is this
No.
just an
No.
experience? Okay, so it's just an experience
Remember
to
that.
have. And then so does the woman? Is she a part of creating the rules there and everything?
Yeah, that's her. These are her rules.
And she would be like, she would
Okay.
willingly tell you, "I want to be gangbanged."
Yeah.
Wow.
Good times.
That's it. America, just when you think you know people, you don't until you really do.
So was your interest in the lifestyle just more group sex?
Yeah. Group
Oh,
sex.
okay.
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 Just things like that.
And then how do you now get to the point where you realize that you want to like have a relationship with someone and still kind of do the group sex thing? Like how do you?
See, like relationships is kind of it's not difficult, but people make it difficult.
Okay.
You know, because a lot of people they're only doing it because the other person in the relationship wants to do it,
Mm-hmm.
so they get it. So they're not in it for the right reasons.
Mhm.
Right.
You know,
Which is
so-
not the issue here.
right.
Right.
Which is not the issue here.
Right.
And I think we were all talking when you said how many years ago this was. So remind us.
How many years ago that I got in?
Yeah.
Like what? 15 years ago? 17 years ago?
15 to 17 years ago. Good times.
Okay. So when did you actually transition over to now swinging as a couple? Because I'm assuming she's not your first girlfriend in which you swung with, right?
Nah, she's actually my second.
Okay.
But the girlfriend that I had before her, she really wasn't in it for the right reasons. She was more so in it. So she claimed for me.
For you.
But when we was at the party, she was. she was
Hey!
more to It's like, how can you say that when you're like,
Right. You
Yeah.
got
everybody
Right.
chilling, but you naked?
right. Okay. Now let me ask, like, because I think a lot of people listening to this, I even got when I was kind of previewing the episode to like some of our audience members, I was like, the feedback I was getting was like, that couldn't be me. Like, I'm too territorial. Like, I'm too possessive. Do you ever get in a situation where you feel like, damn, he could pull away a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Oh, she don't got to be so goddamn happy right now. You know what I'm saying? Do you ever feel that way, or you don't? Do you, Joe?
No, like we actually went to a party this weekend
Damn.
and had a good time, mostly because he had a good time. Like I would like sat back and watched for a minute, and I was like, okay.
So you can literally watch him just tag it
oh yeah,
another girl, and you're like, go get it, baby.
it's a turn on.
So, okay, so it's interesting because Tiana Taylor and Iman Shepherd, I don't know, Shumpert, do you guys know who they
Yeah.
are?
Mhm.
So she just wrote a song called Three Way, and so like they did a little interview about inviting someone into the relationship, but it's like a one-time thing, and like he's not allowed to finish with the other person that
What?
isn't his wife and things like that.
What?
Well, or that's like just kind of like the kind of what's been set.
Those
for
are
them.
clearly her rules and not
Yeah,
Iman's
so-
rules.
I don't
He
know.
agreed to them.
He
Yeah.
says he
But you
can't
don't agree
finish
to
with
it?
anyone but his wife.
Get
But
out
what with you guys? Do you guys have like any unspoken rules like that when it comes to going in?
I mean, look, we have been in the lifestyle for 15 years, and I told you I came in as a unicorn, so I have a lot of experience on the other end of this, especially when we're talking about a threesome scenario, right? And as a unicorn, I am a unicorn, and it's not like by name. It's like literally we don't exist, and so therefore we get treated as precious people, and it's really about the unicorn when they're coming into that room, right? Like, you guys have sex together all the time, so like it's not about us, it's about the girl. And as people who have experience in the lifestyle, we understand that. So like unicorns love us. Like they hit me up as opposed to me hitting them up because they just feel so comfortable and they don't feel used. They feel like they're the center of attention, which is what they should get. Like if he can't get hard, that ain't my problem because we about her right now.
Right.
And take a break, figure out what you got to do because you gonna be here tomorrow.
Right.
And so in that regard, like, our only rule is that whoever we're with is comfortable and that everybody is comfortable and that we're just in a safe space, essentially.
So I have a question. So you did say her.
Uh-huh.
So have you guys ever introduced a male?
Not yet.
Is that an unspoken rule that y'all don't have?
I mean, he said no with his chest. Well, he said no with his chest.
No, I'm not too fond of it, but you know.
Oh.
So you've never.
Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
So you don't know the people till you know them because this is why I'm not taking any pictures. But
hey, keep off the
we
game.
have talked about, and it has even, there was a posting, there was an advertisement, there was conversations, there was a date set up, and this gangbang was supposed to happen for me, and he was setting it up. And now all of a sudden...
Why didn't it happen?
Why didn't it happen?
I was sick.
You were sick. So it wasn't because of you.
It wasn't because of me.
Okay. Were you cool with the
I was
gang?
cool. I was down. I
You
set
were
it
down.
up.
You did set it up.
So why now hasn't a man been included?
So there's never been. You guys have never. There's never been. You've always been with women during these parties.
Oh, no, not at all. We're
No,
just
during the
talking
party,
about...
she's with other guys.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, at the parties it's cool. We're just talking about specifically just bringing in a male for a
Right.
threesome.
Mm-hmm.
Or, okay, so this is the reality of the matter. He also just feels more comfortable watching me with other men as opposed to being involved.
Yeah.
When other men are around.
Yeah. And are you also cheering her on too? Like, yeah, get it.
Yes, get it, baby.
I mean, you know, I say my
Damn.
diligence to keep the mood going.
Right. Okay, cool.
That's nice.
Now, I have a question. Do you, like, can you ever take an enjoyable experience offline from the party where you're just like, hey, baby, this guy was just so damn good. I think, I want to hit this person up tomorrow or hit her up next week. Is offline. Is that off limits or is that something that you can do? That's
What?
off limits.
No, like on my own or together?
On your own.
On your own.
Oh, on my own it's not.
Okay.
But
So
together,
cheating.
that's the goal.
Together.
But
Okay.
is that considered cheating?
Yes.
So how about this?
Say all
So
right.
because you say together, so let's say if it's a guy, right, and you're just like that, it was mind blowing, right? And then like you tell him like, hey, I want to meet back up with him again. He isn't going to be involved because he said that he likes to watch you do your own thing. So technically, from a physicality standpoint, he's not involved. So does he have to be present in order for it to not be considered cheating?
Yeah.
Or does he just have to know about it?
At this point in our relationship, he has to be present.
Yeah. Same thing with you. You just you can't just say like, oh, Keisha from last week that we ran. You can't.
No.
Like she has to.
I'm okay with it. He's
Okay.
not, and
So-
so then we have to do what's right for our relationship, right? And so when we talk about it, we talk about some future. It may be a more open scenario.
So you're cool with him telling you he want to go back with Kiki without you.
As long as I can go back with
Yeah.
Jason without him, yeah.
Sheesh.
But
Alright.
if it ain't going both ways, then no.
You are a unicorn. I tell you that. You are as unicorn as they come.
So so we talked a little bit about like what the lifestyle looks like. So like with other couples, do you guys just like hook up with other couples? Like, oh yeah, Joe and Jan, said this weekend they don't have shit to do. Let's all hang out. That's pretty typical.
That's the goal. I mean, most of the time we're really looking for new couples, because it's hard to find like a 4-way connection, right? Like that's a lot of people that have to get along on that level. And we've met some cool couples, but we honestly, like, the most we've ever, like, hung out multiple times with one couple is, like, maybe 3 or 4, and then it kind of just, like, falls off of scheduling, kids, life, right? But I would love to have, like, a group of couples and people that we can just all hang out, and this is just normal.
Are there dates, speaking of hanging out, like, do you ever, like, let's say before, because you don't, I'm assuming not everybody that you met to now swing with has been through like a party or a site, right? There have been people that you just met like as friends casually or whatever. Do you ever like have like warm up dates before that, or is it just like, yo, like we want to get it on? What's up? Let's get this hotel. How's it like?
It's kind of like that. It's just, you know, you put it out on the site, and it all depends on because a lot of people they just pretty much meet on the swinger site and talk.
Okay, so that's kind of like what you do.
And then they'll transfer over to Kick or
Kick.
Exchange phone
Kick
numbers.
It's a messenger.
It's a
Right,
messenger
right.
of choice.
They have Kick groups.
Do they have the Swinger app?
What?
Their
Like
app.
an app? There are
Yeah.
apps? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No,
Dope
but there's
friend finders,
definitely-
dope friend finders. Like dope friend finders been around for a long time.
There's definitely a component at the beginning. So, like, when we're meeting a new couple for the first time, we're definitely meeting at a bar for a drink. And
Okay.
then going from there.
So it's date life.
Preferably, like, 2 blocks away from my house. Or this.
Because if they hit it off, they can go hit
I
it
mean,
off.
that is the point, right?
So there's no like wasting, you know, because I feel like in normal dating culture, there's like, you know, you have your first date, you go home, and your second
Careful
date.
with the word normal.
Oh, shit. I'm speaking to a unicorn now.
Typical.
Typical. Excuse me. Right. Typical.
So I do have a question, right? Because a lot of people are unfamiliar with what like group sex looks like or what this lifestyle could look like. So I know some people are curious about like in a group setting, everyone's having sex, everyone's obviously naked. What does protection look like? We're using vaginal condoms, we're using regular condoms, there's lube everywhere. What's going on?
Yeah, there's definitely condoms being worn.
Okay. So are people allowed to have unprotected sex? Like, do you
You're
guys?
allowed to, but you know, if it's all in the consent of the people that's involved.
Are there contracts involved?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
How about photos and pictures?
Not allowed.
Okay.
There's never been a party where photos was allowed, video, none of that. Okay.
I took pictures at a swinger party that I once attended.
You weren't swinging.
Okay, I thought you went to several my swinger party was different, the one that I threw, because those are my rules, right?
Right.
And
okay.
there was actual no sex happening, so it was more like so there's different levels to this shit, right? Like there's meet and greets parties, there is, man, it's been so long since I've gone on these sites, but there's just like, there's like full parties where there is expected sex, but then there's also just like meet and greets where you're just kind of feeling out people and then doing like a hotel takeover kind of thing, and people have their rooms already set up, but nothing is happening at the bar or restaurant. But
okay. So I've been to a swinger party, full disclosure, and so like in that experience, that was a meet and greet. So it was just like everyone was getting to know each other, and everybody came as a couple except one person who actually was in a relationship with someone, but her partner just didn't come. So that was actually my introduction to what this looks like, and now I'm getting more information, y'all. This is a lot. So like, so with that being said, so do you guys travel in other cities and meet people? Like, is this just like a global thing? And then also, like, how sex focused is this? Because all the questions that we're having are talking about sex, but like, this is a part of who you guys are as people. So it's not like your relationship isn't based on the sex that you guys have, obviously. So like, can you guys talk a little bit about that?
Well, you definitely have like travel sites within or like group travel to specific resorts at specific times of the year, depending on who you want. You know, there's like the Fluffernutters, which is an older group of swingers that vacation in Quito at the same month during the same week every year. And then there's just like Topless Travel, which is a younger crowd. And then there's like the Spring Break Keto crew. So they're using the venue, but who goes there depends on who's pulling the group.
Yeah. It's like a club.
It's like a club.
Yeah, motors.
Promoters, right.
And so I've done my fair share of traveling. Like I said, I've been to Hito. I went to one in Fort Lauderdale. I've been to... I'm trying to think where else I've gone. There's been a couple more. Mexico. So you definitely... there are different places to go and do things. And I did that all as a unicorn. So, like, I had the time of my life.
And what was your second question?
So we're talking, this is all sex focused. So like, how does this like play into your relationship? Because I want people to have like a better understanding of it. Like it's not, you guys just aren't a part of this just to get your rocks off like the lifestyle. So like, if you guys could like just talk about like the other part of like being in a relationship, like is that part more typical of what you would expect in like a monogamous relationship?
I mean, I think you're talking to, like, what else, but I think that what makes, like, swinger couples strong and the thing that, like, attracted me to the lifestyle is the amount of communication you have to have with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
And every time you go out and try to do a new adventure, like, you don't know what you're going to come across, and you're going to have to talk about it in order to move on to the next experience.
Mm-hmm.
And just being comfortable talking about what you are comfortable with sexually, how to communicate with people, but then, like, as far as the culture itself, it's kind of like, I just enjoy being around a group of people that don't think it's weird that I like walking around naked. Mm-hmm. And if I so decide to, like, stop and suck some guy's dick, it's not a big deal, and I'm not some slut. So there's both sides of it. But it's a part of our relationship, right? But, like, the thread that pulls, it's not the thread that pulls it together.
Right. I want to get back to like the rules real quick, right? So like not necessarily the rules, but kind of like the formality of how decisions are made about the people you want to get involved with. So with that being said, like how is it like when a couple turns down another individual or a couple, how is that like? Is it like a big deal? Does the person feel a certain type of way? Like, is there a code to go about doing it, or are you just like, no, I'm good?
I mean, usually, if somebody say no, the other person backs off.
Okay. And how do they?
I've heard stories. I've never seen it personally, but I've heard stories where like fights broke out because the guy didn't want to get off, or 9 times out of 10, it really wasn't a fight. It was just a tussle because everybody just jumps on the single guy, and just tosses him out. But other than that, that's really I've never seen.
Right. So usually it's just kind of like a signal or like a no, I'm good, and then the guy or the girl backs off. Are guys ever saying no to certain girls?
I would imagine so.
So you two have never seen a guy be like a girl's approaching a guy, right? Because what I'm envisioning right now is like a big room with like people like fucking. Is that kind of what it is, or am I wrong?
You're wrong.
Okay, well, explain to me. Like, can you give me a visual? Because I don't know if people have. I know I didn't have the accurate visual. So, like, give me a visual of a typical swinger.
I mean, so if you go to a swinger event, like you're looking at either a house, a venue where when you walk in, it looks like a normal setting. It looks like a house. Looks like a club. People have clothing on. Maybe you'll see a nipple here or there. And then when you are ready to play, there are other rooms, right? And there's signs where it says no single men allowed without like a female person to avoid these type of situations, right? Because like when you're talking about like the rules, like the decorum of how you kind of just like maneuver that space is really not that complicated because you're like with a partner. Right? Like you're with your wife, you're with somebody you've been with usually for a really long time, and you wouldn't want anybody talking to your wife any kind of way, so then they don't do it to others.
Them, yeah, I see.
So it's not, and even as a unicorn, like when I wasn't interested in a couple, I wasn't interested, and it was never an argument. It was never like I felt pressure. It was never like I felt uncomfortable. It was just like, oh, hey, how you doing? And then I would just kind of, wander off, and they'd leave me alone.
Is there a memorable experience that you two would like to share? Like just a one that like will always like 20, 30 years from now, you're just like, damn, I remember that shit. Look, you smiling, bro. You got it.
My memory index is just flipping 1,000 miles. So I'm trying to think.
Well, we just talked this weekend about when you walked in. It was a movie.
Are you talking about when you was with old girl? When I walked in.
What's that? What happened?
Nah, because I used to work a lot, so I worked like really late, so I didn't get to her house till probably like 11 something, almost 12. And she had the door. The door was cracked. It wasn't cracked. It was just I could tell it was open.
Yeah.
So I just pushed the door open. It's her and another girl just going at it on the couch.
Wow. And
I walked in, and I'm like, man, I feel like I just stumbled upon the treasure at the end of a rainbow.
Right. Leprechaun here, bro. So did you join, or you just like sat there and watched?
I sat there and watched for a second.
Okay. Pulled up a chair.
Nah, I didn't pull up a chair. No, I was standing.
Okay.
He pulled up his dick.
I'm standing.
So I want to draw this. I want to like kind of tie this into popular like society, and like so you guys have heard about Amber Rose's slut walk, and so like this is what we're talking about is like sex positivity. Like everything's about like consent, and everything is about safety, and if people are comfortable, and if people are happy and they're enjoying themselves. So do you guys feel like you guys would be supportive of a campaign like that, and why?
I mean, absolutely. Like, I listened to this book because I don't read anymore. I listen to things. Ethical Slut.
Okay.
And I mean, it really talks about the different dynamics about swinging, being poly, just being non-conventional, right? And the science and the stories behind it. And so I'm not, I should have looked it up. I'm not 100% familiar on all the details of the Amber Rose's slut walk, but that's definitely something I support. I feel like if men get high fives for getting all the pussy in the world, then why can't I? It just it doesn't make any sense to me that we glorify men that can do it, but stigmatize women. And so there was even this morning on WGCI, they were asking, can men be monogamous, or can people be monogamous? And somebody chimed in and was just like, well, if you have sowed your oats, you can, because if you were, were getting it in high school and we're getting it, it's just like, you don't fuck so many people, and now you want some pious girl to live this boring ass life that you don't want to live. I cannot envision my life
and end up getting divorced.
Exactly. Which I don't.
Cheating if she knows.
So I feel like a lot of people have unrealistic expectations because they're relationships like this aren't as talked about, or as how would I say, they're not mainstream. So because of that, people don't know how to gain access to it. So you guys are giving us information about how that would look. So I think that I see that a lot where people have unrealistic expectations about where they want to be, marriage or relationships at all. They don't know that they can do this, and they feel like, oh, I want to date a virgin after I'm done fucking the world, which makes no sense.
Okay, hold on. You're tying in two extremes. That isn't always the case. For a guy,
I'm just saying it happens.
But it's not the norm.
So
You're
I'm
making
letting
it seem
people
like
who
it's
know that's out there cheating on their couple that they don't have one or two choices to live their lifestyle. There's not just one way to do this or to live the way that you want to. You don't have to be in a monogamous relationship. Is what I'm essentially trying to say. Yes, and you can be happy with that. You don't have to choose someone that you're compatible with and then cheat on them and then
Can I ask?
Disrespect.
Yeah, no. I wonder, why do you two think most people are reluctant about embarking on this lifestyle?
Jealousy.
Okay.
I wouldn't say jealousy. I should just say that they don't know. They don't understand it. So
Stigma.
Yeah, it's the stigma, and it's not normal.
Right.
I think jealousy is huge though too, because you almost you have to check your ego at the door, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of times when people cheat, the guy or the girl who gets cheated on, to some degree, they ask the question as to like, why am I not enough? You know, obviously, if you see your man having a great time with another woman, you have whatever impulse that comes in your mind to say that, you have to check that at the door.
Right.
So I can imagine it's really hard to do, but I mean, you guys got that shit down.
And was that hard work to get to this point?
I mean, it took a while. Like, I mean, when I first started, I was like, oh, these are cool people. I like them. But I never thought that I was going to be on the other end of it. And even after that, my relationship in college, it was a very monogamous relationship. And I didn't like it. And then I'm just like, why am I? And even when I went back into the dating pool after 6 years at 29 and trying to figure things out, I was still trying to go the conventional route. And I'm like, why am I fighting what I know is right for me? And there is some trepidation, and I was scared to try it. And in order to trust somebody with that kind of thing, it did take a lot. But it wasn't, I mean, it was internal work that you have to do first, and then you have to find somebody that you can get through those tough conversations with.
So when you guys met, was this what you were looking for? Like, did you guys want to be in a relationship and still engage in the lifestyle?
I was just building my rotation.
Okay, girl. What's the rotation, boo? What does that mean?
That means that you have a list of heavy hitters that you have on deck that you call when you need them, but you have enough of them so that you don't get attached to any of them in particular while you're out figuring out what you actually want.
And when you say heavy hitters, that's people you've had sex with before that you enjoyed enough to do it again.
Absolutely.
And you kind of like just catalog it like, damn.
I ain't faking no orgasms no more. Not that I ever did, but that was like the thing, right? Like I'm going to sleep with people who I enjoy sleeping with and take away the pressure of, is he the one? Is this gonna work out? Shit, I'm just worried about the sex. And if we fucking and you want to do something else after that and you know who I am as a person, then cool, we can get to that point. But right now, you know you on my rotation, you cool with it, and I'll see you in about 2 weeks.
That is some nigga shit. That is some nigga ass. We about to have dudes in our DMs. Yo, what are you saying? Where they at? That's what's up.
So for someone who's apprehensive, they're not sure like if this will work for them, but they're excited about it and they just like, that shit's down. Like the shit. That's the shit to do. Like but they're a little apprehensive. Like how would you say they would have go to their first party or
just
meet?
go to a party? Because I mean,
you don't have to do anything.
Right. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. So
right.
There's a lot of people that go
space.
right. It's a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a club on top of that. You can dance.
Okay, so it's music playing.
This music be kind of cheesy, but you know.
Right.
And there is theme parties, and there is dressing up, and but you don't have to participate in any of that.
You don't participate in none of that. So get you a bottle.
But it just adds to the fantasy of what it's supposed to be.
People watch.
People watch. Okay, so there's no rules against people who just want, what do they call it, voyagers?
I mean, they're not preferred. They're not going to get invited to smaller parties. But when you're going to a big club, when you're trying to figure it out, absolutely go and look and figure it out, right? Do not... Also, find a friend that you want to do this with, right? Especially if you're a single male and if you ain't coughing up $200-$300 to go to these parties, then you might as well invite a female because it'll be a heck of a lot cheaper even if you pay for both of your entrances and a drink, a bottle of something. As a single female and you are interested, you will have the time of your life. And it just kind of, it's natural selection in there. Like, the younger people just kind of vibe with the younger people and the older people do their thing. And we're all cool, but nobody ever feels the pressure to do anything that you don't want to do.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we got to close here because we got another segment that we need to touch on real quick.
Thank you,
But
guys.
I mean, this has been great.
This has been fun.
DMs are about to explode. About to explode.
I appreciate you guys, being so open with us and talking about your relationship and your lifestyle.
Coming unfiltered.
And we hope to hear from you guys again.
Yeah. Come back anytime. We'll do part 2, part 3. It don't matter. And again, appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Definitely.
No problem.
Bo, I learned something today.
I'm glad you did.
I did. It was awesome. It's good.
Yeah. So, everyone that's listening, if you do have any questions about this conversation or about this lifestyle, please do send in your questions to comingunfiltered@gmail.com. comingunfilteredpodcast@gmail.com.
Now, our next segment. What's the song?
No.
There you go. Thank you. That wasn't it. That's fine.
No, it's fine.
So our next segment is what did we miss?
What did we miss? So
that's what we missed talking about in our last week's episode, which is about faking orgasms.
Yes.
So to be honest with you, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, America. There were a couple of things that I wrote down on paper that I got feedback from. I didn't get anything electronically, but I got feedback. But I left it at home.
Yeah, because that's who you are as a person.
Yeah, that's wow. Bola hates me. It's fine. So what I'm gonna do next week is have 2 What Did We Miss? I'm gonna revisit the one from the last episode and definitely touch on what we missed for this episode.
And they kind of run together.
They kind of
both talking a little bit about sex and positive sex and communication and what that looks like in relationships. So I think they can all run together because I'm sure we're missing something.
I don't know if we're missing shit here. This episode.
I think we covered a lot of bases.
we touched
I still have questions, but I think
a lot of angles.
I think angles is right. I think I also want to I would like to experience what this would look like. So, if I have more questions, I got to do some research.
What do you mean, what it'll look like? You mean
go to a party.
Will you participate in these parties, Bola?
I don't know.
Hey, listen. You got to hit up.
It's a closed circuit. It's a safe space.
You got to hit up Joe and Mike first now. You got to have your seasoned veterans with you. Now, don't be coming in here like a rookie trying to own the place.
I know, and embarrass them and get blackballed the worst.
Yeah, but I couldn't do the swinger thing. I think.
Oh, that's not you.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're very.
Whoa, what am I?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I want to know what I am.
No, you're like a relationship guy.
I have my romantic sweet moments.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
So thanks guys for listening. Hope to hear some good feedback. Thanks for coming unfiltered.
Yeah, coming unfiltered.